Interstellar, some of the folks told me that when I was on the International Space Station and I did a cover of a David Bowie tune, and they were trying to decide how to light Matt McConaughey's face when he was looking through the windows of his spaceship, they actually looked at that clip of me to see how the actual light on a spaceship looked, and then they sort of mirrored that when they were lighting Matt's face. It made me laugh that art imitating life, imitating art. My name's Chris Hadfield, colonel in the Air Force, astronaut, flew in space 3 times, commanded the International Space Station, did 2 different spacewalks, used to be a test pilot, engineer, downhill ski racer, occasional guitar player, and we're here today to look at some scenes from different space movies.
You need to detach. I can't see you anymore. Do it now.
This is Gravity, and this is the scene where the Space Shuttle Explorer is orbiting the Earth and they're doing repairs on the Hubble telescope, and they go through some sort of asteroid debris field. Okay, well, that's a nice concept, and the visuals are great, but what happens is so far from reality that I want to turn my head. First off, the satellite goes whizzing by at about, I don't know, maybe 120 miles an hour. Satellites are going 5 miles a second, 17,500 miles an hour. How that thing where you could identify the satellite going by. And then it's like some big dump truck just suddenly put this big pile of rubble just upwind of the space shuttle, and suddenly it looks like an avalanche in space has poured in front of this shuttle. And they violate the laws of physics when Sandra Bullock, she's on the end of the big Canadarm, the big robot arm, and it's tumbling, and she releases her little straps, and suddenly, whoo, she flies away in a whole new direction, like there was some force on Sandra that wasn't on the arm. Like, how come she has a different gravity than the arm does? And then everybody on the crew, I mean, the dialogue, they're all yelling back to Houston as if somehow Houston's going to help them right here.
Houston, I've lost visual of Dr. Stone.
And George Clooney is referring to this other astronaut as Dr. Stone, like they haven't really met each other yet. And he's asking permission from somebody, I don't know, to go and help her out. I mean, it's not astronaut behavior, it's not logical behavior. It's so execrable from an actual practical demonstration of what the reality of spaceflight is like. The most experienced astronaut in American history is a woman. It's Peggy Whitson. She's been in space longer than any other American. She commanded the International Space Station twice. She's done 10 spacewalks. She was NASA's chief astronaut. In this movie, Sandra Bullock has only been an astronaut for like less than a year, and when she's faced with the problem, she's panicking and has no idea what to do. And George Clooney is driving around like some sort of space cowboy as the only person who really knows what's going on. And it's like they met when they were out on this spacewalk, and then it's like he's trying to pick her up during a spacewalk.
Prototypes, even for your pretty blue eyes.
And what is he even doing out there, driving around in his jetpack? I mean, we don't go outside recreationally. It's so different than the actual people that are exploring space, that devote their lives to being astronauts, that are actually on the space station right now. The wonderful human role model examples we have of people who are doing these things, I think it's set back a little girl's vision of what a woman astronaut could be an entire generation. Sandra Bullock did a great job of portraying this character in the movie, but I just think the character that they wrote for her was really disappointing. That's what I would have changed. Get the characters right. Get it to represent what astronauts are actually like, and then build the story around that. Don't just make it the perils of Pauline, where she's strapped to the train tracks and she needs George Clooney to magically appear next to her to tell her which book to open to be able to do the right thing. Real astronauts recognize the seriousness of their job. The fact that it's always life or death, and that we're there as the representatives of 7.5 billion people. Everybody's trusting us to be good at this, to have spent decades getting good at this. If you want to know what a spacewalk looks like, there's never been a better movie, though, than Gravity. That opening scene is magnificent for the visual impact and the beauty of the silent turning world and the resolution of each of the fine things and the lighting. It's wonderfully good. So it gives you the raw emotional sense of a spacewalk. Just don't pay attention to what the astronauts are actually doing.